My question was just around moving into a new culture and new language space. Chris Thomas told me you didn't get the Dutch thing down. But what has that been like, being called by God into a different country from where you're at, where there's a different language spoken predominantly? How has that been for you, navigating that with your kids? I remember, Karen, you were already speaking Dutch to the kids before you guys left. But if you could just talk through a little bit of the language, and then what did that look like contextually as you were on mission in a different context to what you had experienced here and in the UK?
Ik begreep je niet, wat je zegt. Mijn taalgebruik is ongelooflijk goed. En ja, bedankt Herma. That's a great question. There is an advantage. Later we'll speak about some of the other church plants. One of them has been into Berlin. That's a very different language scenario to The Hague. But Holland is very comfortable. Dutch people, generally speaking, comfortable with English. And so some people live in Holland and work in Holland for years and never learn Dutch. That's not a good thing, but it's possible to do. But we wanted to go in and feel like Dutch people would go, this is also for us. It's not just a gathering of expatriates. And therefore, me making an attempt to learn, we greet people in Dutch, we want to sing in Dutch, we honor the fact that we're in Dutch land and that Dutch people are here and you're speaking English for us. Thank you so much. But we wanted to go in with English, not because English is better, and we wanted to be so careful of that, but because English can be used as a tool to gather the greatest diversity of people together. So we would have Dutch life groups, Dutch kids work and English kids work. Those things are part of the challenge, but because we're going into a non-native English speaking context, we figure, hey, we need to honor the local, but we use English as a tool that gathers us together. So I would say I am conversational but not fluent. Thank you, Darren. Not everything that Thomas said was fully accurate, and I will have words with him when we get back.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit like, it was an easy one for me. And because we always knew, like, okay, wherever we are, we want our kids to be able to speak our languages. That's why we spoke our languages to the kids. And we happened to move to England, where you speak English, Holland, where you speak Dutch. So for us, it's been an easy one in that sense. Yeah. And also, like, in Holland, you've got more like you get English-speaking schools even, or, I mean, our kids go to local school, Dutch-speaking schools, but the Netherlands really, yeah, you can really get by with English and Dutch. But we know, like in Germany, so a British friend of ours planting a church there's been challenging. For him, he's really working hard to learn the language. Yeah, so that's not an easy one. But often, like when you put your kids in local schools, they learn the language very quickly. But it's for adults, not always an easy one, learning a language, yeah.
And could you just speak a little bit to the culture as well? So culturally, European Christianity, very different to South African. What is that like for you moving from this context, filled with faith, to there, starting something new? Just contextually, what did that look like for you?
That's a good question. I think for us, what we should be concerned of as Christians is not so much South African Christianity, Dutch Christianity, but we want to bring a kind of kingdom with us. Now, you're not absent of culture. Each one of us are very much shaped by the cultures that we come from, knowingly and unknowingly. But wanting to celebrate that which is brilliant about Dutch culture, not just Christian culture, but Dutch culture. But realizing God's done something here in Cape Town, which is for a blessing of everywhere. Just as a little aside, we've got a staff team, and I suddenly realized about 2 months ago, I think about 8 out of 10 of our staff are either South African or married to a South African or have lived in South Africa, and I don't think, or African. And I don't think that that's a coincidence, because I think that there's something that God has done in a place like Cape Town, which is about the mixing of nations. And that is so powerful In fact, that's what many people have found has impacted them with us, is that it's like the nations. It's going, hey, we love that we're from different nations. We love singing in different languages. And so, yes, we want to learn and honor the Dutch, but draw the Dutch into something that is very international. Good question, Darren. You must have had a great youth leader when you were younger.